Hello everyone, this is Jack Frost with your weekly update for XRP and the Ethereum Technicals. As price has moved quite a bit lower, particularly for Ethereum, this will be a little bit more of an in-depth update. For Ethereum's weekly chart, price has made a new low below this last low here for the week ending February 3rd. Price moving lower for the last completed week and even lower for the beginning of this current week. Moving below support, now resistance at 2400. This new low with a little bit of support from volume, not as strong a push from volume as the previous low, though it does still show a little bit of support for the downwards movement and may expect price to continue even lower. ADX continues to increase with a bearish trend that is not extreme and not yet in danger of ending, again seeing price to continue lower. RSI is neutral and declining, getting a little bit closer to oversold. Money flow is neutral, quite squarely in neutral territory with quite a bit more room than RSI before it may enter oversold. Additionally, neither RSI or money flow exhibit any further divergence than this previous bearish divergence here, which has since been followed by the downwards movement. ATR is quite steeply increasing as price declines for the short term, giving an overall bearish outlook for volatility at the weekly time frame. And with this trend indicated by ADX, it does expect price to continue lower. The trend may continue to where ADX may reach and then remain in extreme or very extreme conditions, while RSI and money flow may enter oversold and or exhibit some bullish divergence before the trend may be in danger of ending at the weekly time frame. On the technical daily chart, we see more detail for price's recent decline. This last low here has since been followed by this low here, and now this last completed session moving even lower here. Price hovering now around support at 2100, previously breaking below support, now resistance at 2400. The strong bearish candlestick here could potentially be seen as a bearish engulfing pattern, though as it is not in the context of a previous upwards trend or strong upwards movement, I have not labeled it as such. This candlestick here may also be labeled a bearish engulfing pattern. I'm sorry, I have not labeled it like that for this chart. That can be fixed for the following analysis. This previous upwards movement, then with this strong bearish engulfing pattern here, price now moving lower with increasing range and momentum for the downwards movement. Volume is overall supporting downwards movement on the daily time frame with pushes on some of these bearish candlesticks. A slight push on this last completed bullish session may see some support for upwards movement for the short term. Within this session, strongest volume was on the upwards movement. ADX is now declining at the daily time frame, showing no clear trend. The trend previously reached extreme conditions, then ADX declined, then again increasing, just failing to enter very extreme conditions twice now. This process may continue, while ADX may remain in extreme and may eventually increase to reach very extreme conditions, though at this point we do not see any clear trend from ADX. On balance, volume has broken below a strong support line, giving a strong bearish signal. This continues to support the downwards movement. This support line was somewhat long held on the daily time frame, had multiple tests, and was overall flat. ATR is continuing to steeply increase as price declines, previously declining as price moved sideways with a bit of upwards movement, giving an overall bearish outlook for volatility at the daily time frame as well as the weekly. As ADX declines at the daily time frame, we use the model of stochastics plus support and resistance. This model suggests an upward swing may occur at this point towards resistance around 2720 or potentially just up to 2400, where price may find one of these support points while stochastics may enter overbought. The previous downward swing may be complete around support at 2100, where price finds that support point and stochastics fails to fully enter oversold, though it does enter almost oversold. This model supports the downwards movement, seeing any upwards movement at this point to be a correction within the deeper downwards trend as indicated by the weekly chart. And it is important to note that for our analysis, we do rely quite heavily on the Elliott Wave for Ethereum, and so if you do want an update for that, we have done an update for that today at pureelliottwave.com. You can sign up for that using the link in the description below. On the XRP weekly chart, this wave count remains overall the same, so I will not be going over it in too much detail. Though the Fibonacci duration for intermediate wave 3 has been altered, the previous Fibonacci duration has been surpassed while the wave remains incomplete, and so we have replaced the previous one, seeing it to end around the end of February, with this new one as shown previously on the daily chart, and again will be shown in a second, where intermediate wave 3 may end around July 17th if it lasts a Fibonacci 377 days. We have also added the short-term target for minor wave 3 as well as its Fibonacci duration. Minor wave 3 has a target calculated at 3.77 using the 4.236 ratio of minor wave 1, and may end around March 26th, 2025 if it lasts a Fibonacci 233 days. This low at the end of minute wave 4 on the weekly chart. As this low here on the daily chart, we can see more detail for the very beginning stages of minute wave 5, currently expected to be within the very early stages of minuet wave 3. though as price continues, the structure may need to be relabeled. I have checked the subdivisions for Minuet Wave 2 and Minuet Wave 1 on the hourly chart, and it all looks good, though the proportions for this wave is a little bit concerning, seeing Minuet Wave 2 to be a very time-consuming correction, while a Minuet degree correction should last a lot shorter than this. The strong bullish candlestick gives a little bit of confidence to this wave count at this time frame, seeing the upwards movement for Minuet Wave 3 to potentially continue upwards with increasing range and momentum, as should be evident for a third wave. As seen on the weekly chart, we have this initial target for minor wave 3, though if price reaches this point while the structure for minor wave 3 remains incomplete, then we have a target calculated for minute wave 5 using the 1.236 Fibonacci ratio of minute wave 3, calculated at 5.37, where price may continue towards if this target for minor wave 3 is rendered invalid. Additionally, for intermediate wave 3, we have this higher target, as with the targets for minor and minute degrees. If this initial target, calculated at 6.11 for intermediate wave 3, is met while the structure remains incomplete, we will use this higher target calculated at 7.60. This higher target uses the 11.09 extreme Fibonacci ratio of intermediate wave 1. And within minute wave 5, any second wave corrective movement cannot move below its start at 1.7830, meaning if Minuet Wave 2 just here wants to move any lower, it cannot move below this point. We also have a confidence point set at 3.40 that would see Minute Wave 5 moving above the end of Minute Wave 3 just here, avoiding a truncation. And on the technical weekly chart for XRP, not a lot has changed, so I will not be going over it in too much detail, though this last completed week has continued a little bit lower, finding support at 2.0, though it has not moved below this previous low here. A push on the last completed week shows a little bit of support for downwards movement, though again, volume does continue to overall decline from this last push just here. ADX continues to decline on the weekly time frame, showing no clear trend. ETH steeply increases as price declines for the short to mid-term, giving an overall bearish outlook for volatility at the weekly time frame. And as ADX declines at the weekly time frame for XRP, we use the model of stochastics plus support and resistance. The model suggests a downward swing may continue towards support potentially down to 1.20, where price may find that support point, while stochastics may enter oversold. On the technical daily chart for XRP, we see more detail for price's recent downwards movement for the very short term, moving overall sideways, previously testing support around 2, then coming up to test resistance, moving up and down with the strong bearish candlestick. On XRP, this bearish candlestick here, could be considered a dark cloud cover, though as it is not in the context of a previous upwards trend or strong upwards movement, I have not labeled it as such. It does still offer some support for downwards movement, seeing increasing range as price continues lower. On the daily chart, volume supports upwards movement with the strongest volume on the bullish candlesticks here. A push on the last strong bullish candlestick offers further support, and a decline on some of the bearish candlesticks sees a little bit of weakness for downwards movement on the daily time frame. This offers a little bit of support to the Elliott Wave count, seeing the upwards movement to overall continue. ADX declines on the daily time frame as well. ATR moving overall sideways as price also moves overall sideways for the short to mid term, previously increasing along with price, giving a bullish outlook for volatility on the daily time frame. And as with the weekly chart, we use the model of stochastics plus support and resistance on the daily chart as well. This model suggests an upward swing may occur at this point towards resistance, potentially up to 3.2, where price finds that resistance point, while stochastics may enter overbought. And that's all for me with your weekly update for XRP and the Ethereum Technicals, as always. And as previously mentioned, if you do want the Ethereum Elliott Wave count, you can sign up for that at pureelliottwave.com. Thank you, and I hope everyone has a good week.